Here's why teachers get multiple job offers, and here's the secret. It's not because they sent in more applications. So let's talk about it.
Hey, teacher bestie. My name's Helena, and I'm the creator of the Present Teacher Podcast. I'm a first year teacher coach, and in this podcast, you are going to learn everything from simple, actionable classroom management, social emotional learning, and teacher wellness strategies. You know that impact you want to make in the classroom? Well, we're going to make it happen here.
Hi, my name's Helena, a coach for new and first year teachers, and welcome to the Present Teacher. So let's talk about how to work smarter, not harder. So first off, you don't need more applications, you need more alignment. So let's talk about how to work smarter and not harder. So the first thing is more overwhelm. When you're applying with a bunch of different applications, what you're doing is you're making your application sound more generic and you're making it sound like you are talking to no one. You're using the same buzzwords that everyone else is using to stand out, which means when everyone's using it, you're not actually standing out, you're blending in. And the more effort it takes to get visible by the masses, and the more stress it takes to follow up with those dozens of districts that you apply to. So that's one of the reasons why applying to making more applications isn't actually the answer. It's working smarter, not harder. So let's talk about why hustling isn't working. So when you use generic messaging that sounds like everyone else, you're not personalizing each cover letter and resume and interview to the specific district that you're applying to and highlight why you are the perfect candidate for that specific district. You're just listing out your qualities and letting the districts do the hard work of trying to figure out if it's a good fit or not. But the reality is, you have a wide variety of qualities, and it's your job in an interview process to highlight the ones that that district is looking for that resonate with you and that are aligned with you. Also, another reason why hustling isn't working is there's a lack of clarity. So, what is happening is you're going to confuse the districts on what makes you stand apart, because when you sound like everyone, you are not standing out from the rest of the candidates who are applying. So, oftentimes districts might just look over you. And also, you might be using the same buzzwords as everyone else is using that year, especially if you're looking on places like social media and online, and things like lifelong learners, diverse learning, future generation ready, technology-based learning. All of these are going to be buzzwords that a lot of other teachers are going to be using too. So they're not going to make you stand out, they're going to make you blend in. So the reality is you get skipped over because you are blending in with the pile of candidates that are using the same tactics that you are. So we need to start thinking outside the box. So now that we talked about working smarter and not harder and why hustling isn't working, let's talk about what alignment actually looks like. What does it actually look like to apply out of alignment? So you get clear on your values, your teaching style, your lifestyle. You don't go to districts first and make yourself mold to fit their perfect candidate. We start with you. What are your values? What do you stand for? What's your teaching style? You, the actual authentic you, the one that you naturally are. What is that? And then apply to the districts that are aligned to that, not everyone, not the districts. Apply to the districts that have the same values and alignment to you on who you are naturally, because when you do that, you're going to show up authentically and it's going to feel like a perfect fit. So, an example. Here on the Present Teacher, I talk to a very specific teacher. I don't talk to all teachers. My values, teaching style, lifestyle, all of it, I have a very set personality that I am, and I don't morph it to be someone else. I'm very much just me. I'm very much just me recording right now, holding my baby. And I know that the right teachers I'm talking to aren't going to be offended by it. They're going to think, hey, she's still showing up. She's still giving me weekly content while she's holding her baby, and that's amazing. And so it's not for everyone. And that's why you're here. You're here because you resonate with who I am naturally. The same goes with interviewing. You don't have to pretend to be anyone else. You figure out who you are. You figure out your personality, your teaching style, how you show up, your values, what you stand for, and you share it, and you share it loudly and boldly. And when you do your research, you find those districts that are looking for that. You look for the teachers that have the same mission and values that you do. And when you show up in your interview, it's like having a coffee chat with a friend. You're just talking about what you're passionate about, and that conveys to districts. Districts can feel that. You can feel on the other side of the screen when I'm talking out of place of authenticity versus where I'm forcing myself to just speak because I need to speak. There's a difference, and they can feel that. So, the same with interviewing. There's niching in business terms or online terms where I'm niching to my audience, and the same goes with interviewing. So now that we talked about that, let's talk about what that new teacher next door does differently. So that new teacher next door, they speak directly to the school as to why they are aligned with that specific school. They show up confidently in the interviews. They're not afraid to talk about their passion topics or to go on a long tangent because those districts are going to be on the same passion about the same things that they are, and they're going to think, oh my gosh, this teacher read my mind. They know who they are, they know what they stand for, and they know that they are worthy. It's just a matter of time before they get hired by their dream district. I'm going to say it again. It's just a matter of time before they get hired by their dream district. They can't mess it up. No matter how they show up, as long as they show up as themselves, it's gonna work out. They can't mess it up. And they know that one day they're gonna look back and think, ah, I'm here in my own classroom. I did it. I did it. No matter what I was going to do, I was always going to end up here. I can't imagine a different way. The same goes for you. And they show up confidently in interviews. They know who they are, they know what they stand for, they know their worth, and they feel chosen or fate. They're not desperate for someone to pay attention to them because they know that the right district is looking for them just as much as they are looking for that district. The right district is looking for you just as much as you are looking for it. So it's aligned or meant to be. I don't know if I can fully put into words the difference of interviews, but when you show up as someone else or like you're supposed to and say the buzzwords and wear the proper and put on the mask to get hired, it feels way inauthentic versus when you do the research, you find the districts that are aligned to you, you get to show up passionately. You get to share your heart out. You get to pour your heart out. You get to light up during that interview, and the districts feel that. And it feels, like I said, like grabbing a cup of coffee with a future best friend. I'm serious. I've had this experience. Many of the teachers I have helped have had that too, where it feels aligned or meant to be. So now that we talked about that, let's talk about the identity shift. Here's the sentence that's gonna make you shift. Are you ready? I don't chase jobs, I choose them. I'm gonna say it again. I don't chase jobs, I choose them. I don't chase jobs, I choose them. You don't need to chase, you don't need to apply to a million places. You get to be yourself, and the right districts are going to show up and offer you the position, and you get to choose the one that's most aligned with you because you are worthy of that. I know you are capable of that. You are worthy of having a district just fall in love with you head over heels, that you are going to be the right addition to their team. It's possible for you. It's possible for me. It's possible for the many teachers I've helped. It's possible for you too. So now that we talked about that, let's start taking action. So define three non-negotiables for your school or district. What are three non-negotiables? Maybe it's having a really strong team. Maybe you don't want a team. Maybe you do better working by yourself. That's fine too. Maybe you want to have really good support for first year teachers. Maybe you want to have a really strong special education program. Maybe you want to have a, a group of teachers that hang out after school. Whatever it is, come up with your three non-negotiables for your school or district, and then narrow down to those that are aligned to those three values. Look at your current list of districts you're applying to and narrow down to those top 3 to 5 that are aligned to those three non-negotiables that have that. Go all in on those. Trust yourself. So, as a recap, we talked about how to work smarter, not harder. You don't need dozens of applications, you need alignment. And we talked about how hustling isn't working. We are taught as teachers that, especially as overachievers, that the more work we do, the harder we work, the faster we get there, but that's not true. You can work smarter, not harder. That's what systems are all about. We talked about this, what alignment looks like. What does it look like to show up in an interview where it's out of alignment versus putting on a mask and faking it, hoping someone will pay attention to you to hire you. We talked about what that new teacher next door does differently in their interview. We talked about the identity shift of not chasing jobs, but choosing them. We talked about how to take action by figuring out your three non-negotiables that your school needs and making sure you're only applying to districts for that. Because here's the truth. I know you can get applied anywhere or you can get hired anywhere. But my goal isn't to help you get hired anywhere. My goal is to help you get hired by the right districts because my heart breaks every year when I see so many teachers leave the profession because they're in the wrong environments. Not that the district is bad, it's just the wrong environments for them. So I had to figure out a way, how can I help more teachers get in districts that are going to support them? And this is how, by being intentional with that first district you work for, by being intentional about your environment, because selfishly, I want good teachers. I want good teacher coworkers. I want good teachers for my future kids. I want good teachers for my students. And this is how we get there by being intentional about the jobs you're applying to and that you're working for in the environment, pairing like a matchmaking you with the right school environment from the get-go so you're set up for success instead of just acting out of desperation and taking any job and possibly being in a misaligned situation where you're going to feel burned out in a couple months. That's not what I want. So that wraps up everything. If you want to take this interview conversation further, make sure to check out my free teacher interview guide. It's got my top 10 strategies to getting hired out of alignment. And also, I have a lot of weeks content now on interviewing, and it's all linked in one spot in that guide. I link to additional podcasts and YouTube videos in the guide so you can go directly to them. So it'll save you time because I got a lot of content on it. The next thing is if you want help customizing your teacher interview experience, like your cover letter and resume, make sure to check out my teacher interview bundle. I have over 10 matching cover letter and application templates that are already done for you, fill in the blank, and I show you how to customize them to match each district. I also have follow-up emails in there, templates, thank you, asking for letters of recommendation. I even have a bonus demo lesson template in there that I used for both of my demo lessons when I applied. And so much so that I actually had the principal liked this template so much that they actually used it when teachers needed help with the lesson plan template for their observations. So make sure to check that out. If you want the strategy behind the whole process, you feel aligned with this and you are done applying to the masses and you are ready to start applying out of alignment and get hired by the right district, not just any district, make sure to check out my experience Land Your Dream Job. Land Your Dream Job is my experience to help teachers like matchmaking get in the right district, not just any district, all the way from the research phase to the application phase to the showing up to the interview phase to the follow-up phase. It's the whole step and process. And one thing that I added recently that I absolutely love is I have a mock-up interview in here. It's an audio where you can pause. I act like I'm interviewing you. You can pause the audio, answer, and I even give you example answers on how I would answer that using some of the frameworks I use inside Land Your Dream Job. So make sure to check that out. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, remember we are stronger together, and I'll see you in the next one, Teacher Bestie. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode. I hope that you were able to take away some value that will help you thrive inside and out of the classroom. It would mean the world to me if you could take 5 seconds right now and leave a review on this podcast. And if you found this podcast especially helpful, make sure to take a screenshot of this episode right now and tag me on your socials to let me know you're listening. As always, remember that we are stronger together with all the love in the world. Helena, aka the Present Teacher. See you next time, Teacher Bestie.